broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Get in there, do that again.
My favorite.
It's like, no.
Oh, it's almost like the nene.
It's the phone nene.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're tuning into AFTERBUZZ TV for HBO Ballers. I am your host, Bamm Ericsen, and I would like to introduce my panel.
Hey, everyone, I'm Sofia Stanley.
What's up, guys? It's Emile Ennis Jr.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kennelia, and guys, we have a special guest in studio with us today. Mr. London Brown, who plays Reggie, is joining us. Everybody watching at home, clap it up for Reggie.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
Reggie's character, cold as ice.
Thank you so much for being a guest with us.
No, I appreciate it, man.
Okay, the first question, just by a poll of hands, how many owns a pair of Jordans?
Yeah.
Hand raise. How many own a pair?
Oh,
Okay.
only two of us? So there's three out of five of us?
Three out of five.
Yeah.
I would be pissed if somebody wet my Jordans.
Yeah, we don't do that. That's disrespectful. In fact, I don't even like to see people at the gym with Jordans on.
Me either. Like why are you sweating in your Jordans?
Who does that? Just folding them up in the front. I'm like,
Maybe they got so much money that they don't care.
That's how I feel.
Like when I start balling, I'm just gonna be doing random stuff in Jordans, cutting the grass. Because I can.
That's almost like as a woman cutting grass in the shoes with the red bottoms at the.
I'm saying when I can just throw money away, I'm just gonna be doing stuff.
Wait, how much are Jordans on average? Because I
150, like 150.
Funny thing is,
Yeah,
it actually doesn't have to do with the money that you're spending. It really has to do with the shoe. So it's funny. I thought I was actually the only one who's vain, and I lived in downtown LA, so it's really like the proper heart of the city, and it's grimy. I don't wear my Jordans to walk around, and I will literally put them in my bag, get where I'm going, and then put them on. But I have my like raggedy ass little Converse to get where I'm going since I'm walking around, and then I put my Jordans on. I have shoes that are way more expensive that I wear every day. I scratch them and I don't care. It's something about them, like they make you feel like fresh. They make you feel crisp, and like especially for me, and this is gonna sound silly, like I'm like a girly tomboy. So it's like for me, they're the perfect complement to certain types of outfits.
So now, Alonzo allegedly.
No, he did it. He did it. And it's funny. No, he did. He did it. And this is the thing is, though, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because arguably he is a rookie, right? But he's the worst type of rookie. He's a rookie who thinks he's a star. And it's like, no, dude, you came here not because you were the best for your position. You came here because you effed up on your other team, and we had to take you because you're good enough that it makes sense, but not good enough to take my spot. So I need to make sure I let you know I'm the top dog, number one. Number two, he had to do that because, again, last week, like Ricky's all like, oh, dude, here's $20,000 or however much, $40,000 he offered him for his number, like thinking as if he was a punk and he could just punk him. So I think Alonzo kind of had to do it one step further, and then we obviously find out there's another reason possibly why he really dunked his Jordans.
Well, he should have got his ass whooped. He got when you do stuff like that, especially.
Alonzo should have got whooped?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Alonzo should have gotten whooped, but it seemed like because in the locker room they'll do pranks often, sometimes that's just how it is. You prank each other. It seemed like he wasn't really expecting to get that ass whooped.
I did not care and still don't care about the Jordans. But the phone. The phone.
That's a fake.
Because
and that's an iPhone because you guys don't have insurance where you can get a replacement, right?
Well, they have Apple Care now that they
yeah.
kind of do something now. However, I'm the type of person I don't trust the cloud. I don't really back it up like I should. So if my phone goes in there, it's done.
It's done.
Like I lost all my contacts, all my pictures, everything is done. So the Jordans you can buy again. The phone, you can't replace the contents
You
of
better
it.
use that cloud.
I don't trust the cloud, the government.
Government.
Do you use the cloud?
I don't use no cloud. I don't use no cloud. I just, that's what I'm saying. I lose my phone. The most I can do is Facebook. Hey, man, I need y'all to call me back. That's why I ain't got, I don't know. Yeah, I don't trust it. That's what the fingerprint thing, I ain't converted to that either, man. I don't know.
Funny thing is, though, what I thought was weird, and I think it shows you the fact that we live in this new generation, I was actually surprised that there's an anonymous tip.
Okay.
And again, and I know everyone's going to jump on me because I think they think that I condone violence. I'm not condoning violence, but, Reggie had a right to basically be Ricky had a right to basically whoop his ass. Do you know what I mean? You gonna punk me, you gonna haze me, whatever, okay, cool, I'm not no little kid, I'm gonna punk you back. But the fact that then it leaves the locker room, I don't like that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because it's like man for man, right? You thought you were man enough to punk me, and I'm man enough to say, yo, you ain't gonna do that. But then who the hell in the locker room said something?
One of the
dudes on the doo-doo squad. I'm tired of not getting in.
And I think that's the problem, because I think that shows the nature of the game, that you shouldn't have people like that in the locker room. And I think that, to me, and I think this is going to be like a continuing theme, a thread throughout the show. Do you know what I mean? The difference between kind of like what you do like man to man on the field or in the locker room versus all of the bullshit in the real world that somehow keeps pulling them to be like everyone else when the situation isn't like everyone else. Because in real life, no one would tell on you.
Yeah.
If you weren't a celebrity, or if you weren't an athlete.
True.
Agree.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, so any other thoughts about that before we go forward? Okay. So.
Oh wait, are we gonna?
I mean.
He's a mother.
Go ahead. Yes.
I was gonna wait to do that at the party, but let's go to.
No, go ahead. Do you?
Okay.
I'm so excited because I literally actually get to curse because I'm quoting.
Okay.
No, right?
So Rob and Spence, now they are trying to get more clients, and so they decide to throw this big party. They have this big yacht and so forth, and so there's so many layers to this party. Okay, so we'll go into Alonzo's mom and to Ricky. Payback's a bitch, isn't it? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's a bitch. I don't have anything to say but banger good.
No, you didn't, Bam. Damn.
Bam. Okay, so if somebody was banging Miss Bam.
You don't understand, like
Miss Bam. Mama Bam. If somebody was tearing Mama Bam up, tearing it up.
My mom is a saved, sanctified woman. I ain't even got to worry about that. That's not gonna happen.
I ain't gonna make no comments because that's your mom, though.
Do you understand the severity of a jersey number in sports?
Yes. Yeah. But again, I think this is differences, and I'll do really short and sweet. He could have approached him in a completely different way. That's all I have to say. Move on.
And
so yes, we know the importance, but he didn't approach him properly.
And he didn't know it was his, he didn't know it was her mom, like his mom. He didn't know.
They don't have the same last name.
They don't have the same last name.
But
he didn't know she had other kids.
But once he knew, and when Spence and Jason said let it go, I can see why he in the back of his mind was like, no, I'm not gonna let this go. I think I'm gonna hit it a couple more times.
So
it's what happens in sports.
But you don't think that anything that he said, how he's like, oh, she's smart, she's sophisticated, you don't think that was actually the truth?
Yeah, it was, but also it helps the fact that he didn't give up the jersey as well, and so now he has.
You think it's a revenge thing?
A little bit.
But then why would he bring it up before he's about to bang her? Because he actually was not going to actually sleep with her, because he was like, yo, is this weird? Isn't this a conflict of interest? That actually shows that he actually has a conscience and he was actually thinking about it.
London, what do you think?
I think that possibly it could have been a part of Ricky that felt like, since they were telling him not to do it, he could have said, you know what, I'm grown and I want to go after this, and so it could have just been him feeling like he wanted to take the control back and say, yo, you know, hey, because at one point he was trying to figure out if Spencer was trying to say don't do it for Ricky's sake or for Spencer's sake. And I think once he felt like it was jeopardized, like, well, if you're looking out for you, then shoot, I'm about to handle mine.
No,
I don't know if it's the best move, but hey, man, people do what they do, man.
Excellent point.
Doesn't Ricky have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's loyal.
making sure.
I did think it was out of line for when Spencer like called it out to the party.
Well, he was just talking
It
loud.
was
He
the
was
tequila,
passionate.
man.
He was being passionate.
He's a bit frustrated. His life is not going very well. He's popping pills, and he has this huge, as you call it, the naggy gnat at the barbecue that's bothering him.
Reggie.
Which is not. Where's the camera? This is not me. This is two.
Your character. Your character. I mean, he had a lot going on, and I can understand why that was a slip of the tongue. I'm just saying.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So now, go ahead.
I'm going to go back and forth on this. So I'm going to literally talk out of both sides of my mouth when it comes to Reggie. My thing is, on some levels, why shouldn't Reggie step up the way he is? Right? Here, at the end of the day, what qualifications does Spence have to manage Vern's money more so than Reggie? Go ahead.
Let's go back to episode 2.
Right.
At the family barbecue dinner where he's throwing money out to the people that are playing.
And I'm actually going to be a little bit more specific. I'm going to be a lot more specific. Presumably, as we know now, neither one of them has gone to school for money management. So at the end of the day, theoretically,
he's certified.
There's a difference when you're certified, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I'm saying that anyone can pass a Series 7.
About to get heated over here.
He's certified.
Right? No, but the difference is, arguably, do we theoretically know that Reggie isn't? This is all I'm saying, is that other than being a football player who somehow Reggie seems to know a whole lot about his background, that he's broke and that he didn't really save all sorts of money and that he used to while out just like the rest of them, why should he be more qualified to manage his money and or his career other than his friend? Now, I'm going to talk really quickly out of the other side of my mouth and then I'm going to let it go. Okay. No, because I'm going to do both. The only aspect is to me the fact that he's coming directly to negotiate with Spence and not with his friend, that seems underhanded. So I just need to say both of those two at the same time. But my first thing is, what really does not make him qualified, or what makes Spence more qualified?
Number one, he's certified. I don't care what he's certified. That means he has done. He's done some knowledge. He's taken some tests. He knows something. He's certified. Okay. I don't know if Reg is certified. So that's 1 for Spence. That's 0 for Reg. Okay. Second of all, if you've been there and done that, sometime experience trumps lack of experience. So that's 2-0.
Okay.
2-0. Okay. 2-point conversion.
What do you guys think?
I think as a friend, I wouldn't want my friend to be broke because of something I did. So if I did something to put you in a position where you don't have no money, I would be like, okay, I can't do this no more. And then I would try to get somebody to help you. Maybe not Spence, because we don't know this dude. We really don't know him. He's just coming in like, yo, I used to play football. What's good? Let me manage your money. But I, as the friend, wouldn't, after a certain point, I would feel like I need to hand it off. Because if my friend is broke because of me, a friend will be like, dang, I did that. And you will feel some kind of way.
I agree with that. I think my biggest problem with Reggie is he's not taking any ownership for his actions. All deflection. Let me figure out what's wrong with you, what's wrong with you, as opposed to, I'm the gut.
Or maybe he's not, though. Maybe Vernon is just trash with money. Maybe Reggie has set up some amazing plan and Vernon is the one that's like, oh, no, I'm good. No, let me just do this. We don't. I mean, is that money? Can you give us some spoilers?
Without giving too much away, it's just one of those things where with Reggie, his best friend, they played football when he was younger. And like I say, it's just Vernon bringing his best friend along because you want somebody that's going to kind of help you. At least somebody at the end of the day has your back. And he does trust Reggie. They were friends and he's like family and so forth. And so Reggie is trying to do,
what?
Trying to have his back. He gets a little reckless. I mean, he spends a little money.
So why would Reggie have his friend do coke the day before football practice?
You know what, Reggie, this is the fun side of Reggie saying, hey man, we're at a party, loosen up. Reggie has a good heart. That's some other things. Reggie has a good heart, and Reggie's the kind of guy who has taken Vernon out and said, yo, Vernon, put that sweatsuit down and pick up this outfit and buy this Versace shirt over that Champ shirt, or that Chap shirt. So it's just one of those things where he's trying to. He just has friendship, We don't really know yet.
Sophia, let me jump on your side. The one thing that I don't like that Spence did is you don't just give a check to a man who just lost money. You don't give him $300,000 and just say, here. That's where he lost me, because you saw Big Mama with the handbag, and so
Mama has to have a handbag though.
Yeah, my mom won a handbag for her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
See?
Yeah, when you usually come across, especially for African Americans, when you come across some serious money, you gotta take care of moms first.
She want a bag, you gotta get her a bag.
But in Spence's defense, I'm like, well, I think it's a thing of just like, in good faith, I got you on the front end. You just look out for me on the back end with the deal.
That's where I'm Team Sophia.
See, and the funny thing is that, and it's funny because to me they're laying little nuggets. Now, you guys both said something about the fact that you would not want your friend, you wouldn't be as a friend want to be responsible for their money, right? Now, then theoretically the same would apply to Spence, because the only reason that Spence even has a seat at the table is because they're friends, because they played football together, right? So theoretically they're all friends. That's the first part. Number two is, and this is the only kind of analogy I can bring up because it's relevant. In my life when I'm not here, I'm a lawyer, right? So does that mean when any of y'all come and ask me for legal advice, I'm supposed to say no?
Oh no, because even if you tell me no, I'll be like, no, here.
I'm just being 100. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's actually, that's exactly why you have someone in your camp who has a certain body of knowledge, because you know that unlike someone else, I am not only looking out for your best interest because I'm certified to do so, I'm looking out for your best interest because you are my friend. Mm-hmm. So therefore, I would actually probably give you a better level of service because you are my friend, and I'm not going to bill you line for line like I would a client that I am not related to, right. i.e. in terms of a familiar or a friendship relationship. That's the first part. So I think that friend stuff doesn't bother me so much. What bothers me though is they keep dropping little nuggets about Spence, that Spence not only is not qualified, he literally is about to blow up, but not in a good way. So let's back up a little bit. When they go to the boat, right? So the boss of Anderson Financial, his boat is called the Old Man, right? He then says, oh, it's custom made just like your suit. So unlike Joe, who didn't realize, thought it was tailored, he's like, well, it's custom made. What he's really saying is, oh, you still a little bit too flashy. Meaning, you don't have no clients, you ain't bringing in no money, but you walking up here in a custom tailored suit?
Well, I mean, he can't go to Men's Warehouse.
But he could have it tailored. He could. He could have it really big and have it tailored in, right? The boss then goes, all right, cool. He's like, what are you guys standing here? Are you just standing here to polish my vessel? Basically meaning like, are you here to suck my dick? Like, let's get real, right? So he's kind of man-to-man to him saying like, why the hell you here, right? Because you ain't really doing nothing for me. You are just that football guy, right? So then it's again, what are his credentials? His girlfriend basically is like, oh, you're telling the same stories you always tell. So meaning he's still stuck in that, I used to be a great football player and people used to put their knuckles in my you-know-what to get the ball, right? Then what happens? He pops Vicodin, meaning he can't handle the pressure of actually being in charge and managing his finances and managing potential clients. They then ask, someone says, you'd make a hell of a GM, management. Like, basically like, yo, dude, what's your end goal? Like, he's sitting there talking to other businessmen, and they're like, yo, what's your end goal? And he looks like scared, like a little kid, like he doesn't know how to answer the question. Dude, what's your end goal? What are you here for? What he should have said is, I'm here to literally manage all these you-know-what and make $1 billion motherfucking dollars. He didn't say that. That's when Reggie jumps in and says, hey, yo, I gotta talk to you. But before that, he goes, so you want to own the whole damn plantation. So basically meaning you somehow, even though you were on the plantation and you had no control, that's why you're now broke, despite the fact that you used to be a star, you somehow don't have a plan?
And Reggie catches that.
And that's why Reggie then has to say, oh, you a hustler just like the rest of us because you ain't good at this. The only difference is arguably he's looking out for his friend because he basically says either you need to be good at this or you need to step off. Somehow to me they are leading us in a particular direction and they're kind of like doing like almost like a bait and switch. Do you know what I mean? Like they're faking us out. They're crossing and crossing back.
That's the thing I think that people sleep on as far as Reggie, and that's just one of those hood qualities that Reggie has is these guys are from LA, and you know those are the kind of things you learn from just growing up in the hood. You read people so well, you be like, oh, this is BS and this is that. And so despite all of the suits and the cleanness and all the muscles and all that stuff that everybody gets caught up in with Spence, I think Reggie is going right through the BS and saying, yo, I clocked you, man. And even though everyone else doesn't see it, oh man, I know what you are because I am that too. So let's put it on the table.
What I like and dislike about the Reggie character is I like how Reggie picks up on things, but some of his responses, like what Reggie said was, I want half or something. He wanted a percentage of.
He wanted because basically Spence is entitled to 3%, so he's basically like, I want one of your percentage points.
Yeah, and that's where he kind of loses me, because sometimes then it makes it seem as if you're out for yourself more so than you are for Vernon or Vernon's brand. So that's where I get kind of edgy about your character, because sometimes it comes off as me on first versus Vernon.
But let's look at it this way. Every time you see an athlete, you see his homeboys in the entourage. When you know them, you'll call them do boys. Do this, do that, do that. Oh, you a do boy.
I've never heard of that.
You never heard of Think about the do boys. Do boys are never smart enough or strategic enough to actually set up some way that they can get money. Because when your homeboy fall off or he done fooling with you, you don't have anything. You get to travel while he's traveling. You get to go to All-Star Weekend. But when that stops, you now can't have a job because for 10 years you've been a do boy and you just left with nothing, no money, no savings. So it sounds like Reggie, he knows he doesn't want to be a do boy, and he's smart enough to be like, listen, you need to cut me a deal off the back end. Because if he did tell Vernon that, Vernon probably wouldn't be able to accept that either. Because Vernon be like, what you mean I'll take care of you forever?
Excellent point.
So
yeah, it's also one of those things where that's why he doesn't acknowledge that, which is he don't want to just be a do boy driver, you know, a valet driver and so forth, as you mentioned. But it's also, like Reggie is trying to, you know, figure this whole thing out and do the lookout as well. But Spence knows that as much as he may not like Fat Reggie, he has to kind of work with him in order to work with Vernon. So he's like, you know, and Reggie knows that. He's like, well, you know, I have a lot of influence on my boy, so yeah, I'm the middle guy. So do what you got to do.
One other last thing, and I couldn't quite catch this, but right before the scuffle between Reg and Spence, there was something that was said about family. Adopted or family. So is Vernon adopted, and that's your family? Your family is his family?
No, it sounded like he was saying that Spence was adopted. And he was saying, you're adopted, just like, don't take my family away from me like your family was taken away from you.
Gotcha.
And that's another layer of, not to cut you off, another layer of Reggie, which is the fear of being squeezed out of this family environment that Reggie has created with himself. Like I said, they go back to Pop Warner football and whatnot. So he does feel a little threatened by Spence because Spence has the suits and he knows some stuff, or at least he knows that people perceive him to be this thing. And so the idea of possibly being edged out does concern Reggie in the back of his mind.
Fair enough. Rob. I love Rob.
Who's Rob? You mean Joe?
His name is Rob, isn't he?
Oh, my bad.
Rob Corddry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Spencer's manager. Yeah.
Oh, but his character's name is Joe.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, his real name is Rob Corddry.
Right, sorry. Yo, I studied, and I made sure I know the names. His name is Joe. It's on my little card. Joe, Spence's boss, Anderson Financial.
Sophie, I cannot with you.
Sorry, my bad.
Keep it in 100.
Sophia,
Joe turned up.
He did turn up.
He turned up. It wasn't quite working. It wasn't his normal way of how he chooses to do business. He had to be quick on his feet, and he completely turned it around.
Nice.
Go ahead.
No, I thought that at first, and I went to Kennelia, I thought at first he was like playing into an act. Like he was rolling the dice, we're going to do a lesson at the end. See, this is how we can take your money.
I thought so too.
I thought it was going to be something like that. then I realized, no, he's really turning up in there. Yeah, this is my yacht. Like, what do you say, world star?
Yeah, he had Molly.
Everything.
He was ready to go. I don't know. On a side note, playing dice and playing craps, are they that similar? Does anybody does anybody know? Like when you play dice in the alley with your homeboys or in the basement over Ray Ray's house, is it that much similar? Because he rolled into the dice game like he has been playing dice with the homies since day one.
I agree. I agree.
I think I'm going to assume it's the same. I felt a little way about it because I hate the stereotype that it was portraying. But then just
keep going one step further.
Black people and diet. You got all these football players. At first, I felt a certain way about it, and then when the fact that Joe was able to come in, all hustlers from all aspects of life, white, black, brown, probably all play dice. So I got over it.
Okay,
I didn't like it in the beginning.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I took it a completely different way. I took it it's like gambling. Like when you're having fun and you have too much money, what do? You gamble. Like that's the whole premise of like Vegas and like Miramar and like all those other places popping up to gamble. It's like when people have too much money, that in of itself, the losing it, the winning it, that roller coaster, that becomes a drug. I just think that somehow we legitimize it when it's Vegas and we don't when it's craps, like in the alley, but it's the same thing. And I think that what it was showing is it was showing that Joe and these dudes, if you're viewing them in a stereotypical light, hustler's a hustler. It doesn't matter if you wear a suit and you pop Vicodin or if you don't wear a suit and you smoke weed. A hustler's a hustler. It doesn't matter what you wear or who you are, the same is the same. That's what I thought that little tete-a-tete and the fact that he won was showing. And it also shows that maybe he's the better hustler because he's doing it clean.
Good point.
All good.
Raise a glass, my niggas.
That was the funniest part.
Yo, I cringed up in my chair. Like I had my little notebook. I was like, "Oh my god, no, we did it!"
But did y'all expect it to come? Because the whole time I was thinking in my mind, he gonna say the N-word. When he went into, as soon as he went in and started playing dice, I was like, "Oh, he gonna say the N-word."
Getting too comfortable.
He was over there with the Molly. He was doing coke. I was like, "Oh, it's coming."
That's how it happens.
Too excited.
Maybe I was too busy writing notes. I was like this. Did he just say nigga?
I just love his reaction. Did I mess up? Did I mess up with that? Or like I don't know.
Well, they threw his ass in the ocean.
But some of those things, it happens just like that because white folks get comfortable sometimes, and they, I've been around. They said some slick stuff, and they be like, yo, man, what kind of shirt is that? I was like, oh man, this is a. I say something like that. I said, yo. That's a nice kind of blouse you got on. What kind of blouse is that? Oh, it's kind of your people picked it. And it's
you couldn't say that to me.
It be so slick.
Come back. What'd you say?
I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm telling you, I was like, yo, did he just? Sometimes, so that's a very much so real between the drugs and he done been around them gambling and get comfortable. And hey, they just say some stuff and then. The reality check is the people around they weren't pissed off because everybody's still having a good time, but I'm going to teach you a lesson. Getting there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. It was real.
I'm a little the cotton thing. I'm still.
Oh man, people say, oh man, they say some wild stuff. I'm telling you, man.
Just sip my water.
I'm gonna sip on that one too. I'm telling you, I done heard some stuff.
But I think it also shows and I think Emile, you were the one who said it, and we all chimed in after this episode. I feel like they're getting their rhythm, right? And we were like, yo, we love this show, and part of it is because I think there's a reality to it. There's an authenticity to it. So just like London saying, in that moment, for all five of us, it felt real because we've all been in that situation with, regardless of what the verbiage was, where someone got too comfortable and they overstepped. I think that it was great that Joe realized he overstepped. Like he was like, oh wait, did I do something wrong? I did something wrong. Oh shit. And more importantly, he accepted his punishment. He accepted the fact that in order to make everything clean, we got to do something to you because you just stepped out way too motherfucking far.
And he was still excited when he got into work. I love this party.
Well, that's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that off camera.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the confrontation between Spence and Reg? And did you think that once Reg got knocked out, did you think that it was over? The party was over? Did you think that they were going to lose clients, or did you think that he was going to be able to bounce back the way he did?
I didn't think they were going to lose clients because at a party like that, somebody's fighting.
Yeah.
Somebody is drinking too much. It's just that kind of environment. They had a yacht, a house, and on Star Island, somebody getting punched out. And so when it happened, I was like, okay, so as long as the DJ can pick his stuff back up and set it up, the party's just going to continue. Because no party ever shuts down like that,
Right.
ever. They go until 6 o'clock in the morning.
And I want to rewatch because it wasn't a punch, right? He literally looked like he just did one finger and it was like on the
it's The
ground.
Rock,
Yo, but The Rock is huge.
He really is, man. This dude-
Can I say something? Can I ask?
No, wait.
Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
The scene where right before you guys had the altercation, were you standing on something? Because The Rock is
He was on the stage.
tall.
Yeah, I think I was right. I was on the. Technically, I was right next to the DJ booth. So not as opposed to like a props thing to stand on. I was actually on the platform with the DJ, just having a good time.
Okay.
And then I think between that, I think by the time I got pushed, then I was just on the same surface as him. I think from what I can remember. Yeah.
But again, to me, I think it's really important that the first time we've seen Spence lose his cool was because Reggie brought up his family.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we touching on some. Again, now we're talking about Reggie again. This is just another. I mean, because this is like a substratum of things, but we see that I think sometimes as viewers, the audience, they just like rage an a-hole and they just paint him with one stroke. But I'm like, they gotta really see the dimensions of Reggie and understand, like, yo, besides, there's another thing that Reggie was able to clock and say, oh, you think you're gonna swindle in through this way? I clocked that too. So he's not as, technically on paperwork he may not be certified, but just from growing up in the streets and just, he just able to just put people together and size it up and figure it out.
Yeah.
I think there's also similarities between you two that I think we will eventually find out. Episode 5, 6, or 7.
Right.
There's a lot of similarities that you guys have, which is why you guys don't get along.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. And then I always make a count of how many times Spencer pops a pill during the episode. And so for this episode, he popped it in at least twice.
Oh, you're good. I only saw once. You're good.
He popped twice. So I think the more he continues to pop, we're going to see these little things where you have people like the Reg character that gets to literally push him over the edge. The very last thing before we go into some questions with you is Charles starts to spiral as well too. He got his shirt off at the club. He turning up.
He puked in the
Yeah,
dinghy.
he ain't turned up. He is trash.
His wife is going to beat his ass when he gets home.
Yeah, poor thing. But when you're away from it and you finally come back to it, you lose control. Even if you weren't a part of that lifestyle. Like, let's say I was at that party. I don't be at parties on Star Island, but I would have had a great time. I probably wouldn't have threw up in the dinghy or been doing coke and Molly, but I would have been like, you just lose control.
Yeah.
You're having a great time. It's just unfortunate that that's probably going to make him miss it even more, and it's going to put him in a situation where he feels genuinely depressed about his life. And he can't tell his wife, yo, I was at the party and it was like chicks there and we was drinking and it was crazy. He can't talk to anybody about it.
Okay, well, let's go into you. Tell us about your audition process. How did you hear about this project?
This first, I have to say this because I've told God, I said, man, you give me this part, I'll tell people how I got it. And so this is one of those, this is the opportunity to do that. And so anyway, basically, I got a call from a good friend of mine. He said, yo, HBO, they're looking for you. I said, okay, sure. So he passes their number. We exchange numbers or whatever. Casting calls me. I go in. This is like August of last year. And I do the audition. It was I guess, strong. And one of the things I think allowed me to get to the next table, which was after the first audition, I then went right to HBO and I met with the creators and writers and so forth. And I think the thing that impressed the most was I came into the audition on drama. I'm going to, whatever it was, Spencer, if you ain't got the money, okay. You got the money, you know. I was, thespian in there, method. And he was just like, yo, that's great. But now, it's 30 minutes, so we need you to go light. And so, coming from stand-up, to play funny it's already in my proclivity to do that. So, I was like, oh man, that adjustment is, I adjusted, and he was like, I remember just them making a big deal out of that. So, and if for people who watch who don't know, I think that's such a big deal because time is money, money is time. Mm-hmm. So they don't have time to be on set trying to give acting lessons. Mm-hmm. 37 takes for you to go in a different route. Mm-hmm. And so the next day I went to meet with the creators and writers, and I did this audition process lasted from August to October, and it was just call back. And they gave me some adjustments, and they said, well, try it this way. Then we did a chemistry test, which is to see how Vernon and I play off each other. And then it started feeling good when they told me, don't worry about the script. We just want to see you, So then I was able to kind of work the room, as we say. And I that was just God, man, because going back to this process, I didn't have an agent or any kind of representation. And so those kinds of things, HBO is too big of a network to go out looking for anybody. They don't got to do that stuff. But that's when I knew God worked it out, man. It's humbling, and I can't take, so much credit for it because I just know He arranged it. And I actually had booked some other projects, and those projects got shelved. I remember I was supposed to be out in New York the same week as the audition. That got moved. And I was touring the year before. And this particular last year I wasn't on the road, so it just worked out, man. I can't take any credit for it, man.
When they told you that you got the job, you were a series regular, where were you and what were your thoughts? After whatever the last audition was, they said, "Yo, we're gonna have you come in," but it's really kind of for the writers. Uh-huh. So that's what I was like, "Oh, okay." Now, mind you, throughout the process, when I first got it, a friend and I, we prayed. And then after that, there was never any doubt. Mm-hmm. Not, humanly, we say, because it was a period in there where 2 weeks where they got quiet. I said, it get real quiet. I said, man, I felt the audition was strong. And what happened was in that process of 2 weeks where it got quiet, I remember them saying, yo, London, so what time are you going up tonight? Now, I hadn't even tweeted about or anything social media wise as far as about this show at the Comedy Store. And that made me feel that was another little nugget to say that they were interested because they found out I was performing at a club, and I still don't know how they found out about that. And I still don't even know quite how they even heard of me as far as casting because I don't have any rep. Yeah.
And I did a show called The Hustle on Fuse. We did 6 episodes. It was a high rated show we had on Fuse, but we didn't get picked up for a second season. Nor is it a show you can just YouTube. So I don't have an acting reel online. So these are all the signs that let me know God arranged it. You know what I mean? And so anyway, after the last audition, I stepped outside to leave, and he said, yo, do you have any obligations? I was like, no, I ain't got no kids, I'm not married or anything. I ain't got nothing. And at the time, I think I was working at an after-school program or doing a bunch of volunteer work with young people. And he said, all right, man, because you may have to relocate, and, we're thinking about making you a series regular. Because first I was supposed to be reoccurring. Mm-hmm. So many things that God just arranged. But, so yeah, I'm supposed to be reoccurring. If you don't know what reoccurring is at home, that's just like if you ever seen, if you watched Martin, Brumman was reoccurring. So not every episode. So that was one thing. The second thing is, of course, Fat Reggie, ideally, I'm not anything fat. So this is just another thing I think they were able to enjoy some of the specialties or the small nuances of what I was able to bring to it. I don't even think they knew I really did stand up like that until we got on set. And then they were so cool enough to kind of let me work the room and do some stuff on set.
Now, you talked about how they let you at one point go off book. Was that the standard while you were filming the entire season? Were they just like, okay, London, just go and do your thing?
No, we would do the first few takes. I would do them, verbatim with the lines, and then they began to trust some of my choices. And in between the last 3 takes, what happened was I started playing with the lines when I knew they weren't on me. So if they were shooting to say across or over me to Dwayne, I knew that they wanted his lines. So then I was working my lines, and I think I just made some pretty good choices. Even like with episode 2, doing the salsa dance, the cha-cha. You know, I was aware that I just try to exhaust all of the possibilities of moments, and some of that comes from my background in theater. Is like my choices of when I first started there, you know, my chops weren't up to par, so I ain't had no lines, but I still want to draw people in my direction within the confines of the scenes. You know, I'm not just trying to be a clown, but coming from theater, I was able to learn how to pull that look without being heard, without speaking, basically. And so that dance did that, and again, they just was like, okay, well, I remember at some point the director was like, you know, well, have fun with this tape. And so there was a lot of stuff that they actually kept that worked, and little small things that I think just kind of helped make Fat Reggie 3-dimensional. So he's not right now. I mean, I think people just say he's an a-hole because that's the one thing that they identify with. But if people really sit back, they'll notice there's some layers to Reggie. He's not. He does care about Vernon. You know, at the end of the day, he cares about him. He's reckless. He's spending some money. He's reading Spencer, and then what you pointed out, which was really great. There is some parallels between these guys where you're like, yo, they're seeing each other because they both have some serious issues, but at the same time, they both want to do well with Vernon.
What would you say keeps you going? Because you talked about how there was that 2-week period where you didn't hear from them, but I know there's longer periods out here in LA where you're waiting for the opportunity. What keeps you going in those moments so you don't spiral off?
It's just faith and no doubt. Like, I'm very each move was very, within my career, is very methodical. Like, I'm not just doing. I'm not like a guy who says, you know, I want to, you know, I didn't make it to the NBA, so I guess I'll try this acting thing or stand-up thing. Like, I've always known that, you know, wanting to be an artist or stand-up is different from deciding to do it, you know. So I just remember always seeing this stuff very early on. That's why even when we did The Hustle and we got, you know, people was like, yo, I like the show, is it coming back? And we never really got an official call like, yo, it's not happening. They just kind of just
fizzled out.
You know? So, but I never worried about it because I just knew my idea is just to, I anticipate. So I just work so that I know something's gonna. That's how it works. But my faith, I think, is just unbelievably strong to the point where I feel it's strong enough to. I have these discussions with my friends, like, yo, you gotta come on. Like, fear is the only difference between the Jay-Z's of the world and the super talented guy who raps at the park. It's just fear, man. Like, that thing will paralyze us. And fear is good in the sense that it allows us to be conscious of, cautious. It allows us to be cautious, and you know how we go about move. But I don't. Especially then also too, you watch TV. I see young people my age working. I'm like, I can do that, you know. And I'm just tired of some of this broke stuff, man. I just it's not about the money. It's not, because I like doing that. I've done plenty of shows for free. But I'm just like, I know I'm supposed to do something much bigger than, you know, than this day to day.
And real quick, London says stand up, but London does stand up. Weren't you on the road with Chris Tucker?
Yeah, I was.
So London he's a comic. Like, some people just throw it around like, oh, no, stand up, you know, they're like at some little bar. No, London is a stand up comic.
Speaking of, can you tell us some dates you have coming up?
Yeah, man. You know, I'm gonna go to my phone because I'm not as witty as some of my.
Well, what we'll do is get it out, and then when we do the closing, we'll make sure that we get that. Is there anything that you can tell us that that we can look forward to? Can you give us any spoilers, a tidbit, something? Come on, bro.
Come on, bro.
And it's so funny.
You mean as far as the show or whatnot?
Season 2.
Huh?
You mean as far as the show or whatnot? Or
Yeah.
okay.
Don't jeopardize your career.
I know, literally, as your counsel, yeah, we want you back season 2. So think, but then share.
I'm going to try to pull them out this site too for those days. But yeah, I think with Reggie, I think people will. I think hopefully by the end of the season, people will again just see some of the layers to Reggie, and it's I understand. Like I did a show, I headlined out in Bakersfield Friday night, and this guy coming to me after the show. Yo, man, when I walked in here, I saw you, and I didn't like you. I just want you to know I didn't like you, but then I realized that Fat Reggie was the guy on the screen, and he was funny, and I like it. And I was like, yo, man, that's what it's about. So I appreciate people.
That's like a compliment. And yeah.
So I appreciate people disliking him and the energy that he's getting, but also really as people watch the show, I just want people to really take a look at the storylines as a whole and say, well, why? But as I said, why do we not like him? And because that's what we do with a lot of, with people, with real stars and real people, we just say, this person's like this and this person. We're gonna say, why are people on drugs? Why are they having alcohol and they're in and out of jail? There's always some sort of undergird to why people do what it is they do. It's, so anyway, people will begin to see.
Gotcha.
Some of those layers of why Reggie is the way he is.
Okay, so make sure you find that information. Now let's go quickly into news and gossip.
Oh.
Okay, I've really.
TV News.
2 quick things. First of all, I just want to give a very quick shout out to one of our fans, Javon White, who let us all know about a hashtag that HBO has. So if you are out there and you watch Ballers like we do, you watch with our friends and we take pictures and we take selfies. So if you have any kind of a viewing party for Ballers and you take pictures, make sure to use the hashtag Ballers Tailgate, because that's what it is. It's a party. It's a football party. So use the hashtag Ballers Tailgate. I also wanted to quickly shout out, it seems as if sports broadcasting is no longer the only way to have a media spotlight post-football. Retired 12-year defensive end Simeon Rice is making himself also known as a writer and director. He has a new movie called Unsullied, which he wrote and he directed. And it is based on a true story. It's like a kidnapping. It's really dark. It's really scary. I'm a scaredy cat, so I'm not quite sure if I'm going to see it. But you guys should definitely check it out. It is in theaters August 28th. And again, Simeon Rice, former football player, now writer, director.
All right, and now let's go into co-piece of the week.
There we go. Had to wait for the music, guys. Co-piece of the week for episode 3 of season 1 of HBO's Ballers goes to Reggie. Obviously, not for obvious reasons, because we all, or some people think that Reggie's a bad guy, but for the fact that Reggie completely did a back dive into the DJ booth when The Rock just stumped him in the chest. He could not have really hit him that hard. I'm just not believing it. I'm not buying it up. I'm not buying it up. So he clearly is a stuntman now, and he's even more shady because we saw in the previews the next week he was walking around with a damn neck brace on. So Reggie is straight out cold for now having this super duper neck injury because of something Spitz did. The cold piece goes to Ricky's Jordans because R.I.P. he can't wear them anymore. So
what do you call this part of the same? What do you call it?
Cold piece.
No, but then you
cold
said something.
Cold piece. Cold piece. That's you get the small, the baby cold piece. Teeny tiny baby cold piece. So let us know online who your cold piece and cold piece is. Hit us all up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook using hashtag cold piece, hashtag cold piece it.
Can we do predictions? Predictions. Emile, go first.
My prediction, it goes back that Charles storyline. It just won't. The Charles storyline, I can't shake it. I think it's sad seeing how strong of a couple they looked, him and his wife. And it's going to be interesting to see how it spirals down. And I don't think it's going to come from Charles, and I think it's going to be on the wife's end. I'm going to be sad. So.
I have a prediction. I think that those pictures that Reggie was taking of Vernon doing coke, I think he's not going to leak them, but I think he's going to make maybe Spencer aware, hey, I have these pictures. I'm not going to leak them, but your client is doing coke.
Good prediction.
That's a very good prediction. I got nothing. Just ditto.
My prediction is I wonder will Charles turn up too much before he actually goes back into play, because I do think that with a character that Doolittle plays, with him wanting to come back, he's somewhat enticing him, and you can tell Charles wants to come back, but I wonder will his new turn up
ruin his chances
to actually come back and play. And that's it for now.
Cool.
All right, so we want to thank you again for coming by AfterBuzz TV for Ballers. Let everyone know where you could be found on social media and where you'll be touring.
Yes, so I'm on social media at Real London Brown. At Real London Brown, that's Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter, and Facebook. I'm London Brown. A few days coming up, we'll be at the Box Theater in Riverside. That's later on this month, and Pachanga out later on this month. And go to my site. Sometimes, you know, I'm in a position where I'm funny enough to get booked, but not funny enough for them to be booking me dates out. So right now I got no dates this week, and then I mess around, and then tomorrow it'll be 4 or 5 dates. You know, so I'm on stage every week, man. And so people can go there. Also, while I still have the chance to do this, I want to thank, of course, my family and people that are following the show, and special shout out to Mark Swinton, my theater teacher who believed, man. Byron Noor, one of my good coaches, and Prentice Penny, who booked me for The Hustle, man. Because sometimes people don't see it, man. So I'm really grateful for the people who can see whatever the thing is. Because people, man, they funny. They don't see it. They don't want to take chances. You know Hollywood, they rotate about a good 7 of us. So it's cool that somebody can say, yo, man, I believe in what he's doing. So I appreciate that stuff.
Thank you so much,
and Ennis
Mr.
Mitchell, man, the
Brown.
comedy keeps me working.
All right, and then let everyone know where you can be found on social media.
You can find me at Kennelia on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
You can find me at Emile Ennis Jr. on YouTube, Chasing LA. And you can find all 4 of us at Happy Hour. Check out our podcast on iTunes.
You can find me at Sofia Stanley, Twitter and Facebook, at the Sofia Stanley on Instagram.
And you can find me on all social media at Bamm Ericsen. Mr. London Brown, thank you so much.
Thank y'all, man.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Please come back.
Please.
I can't wait, man.
Yes, we want to thank we want to thank you guys again for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV for Ballers on HBO. Again, special thanks to our guest, Mr. London Brown.
Thanks
We'll
so
see
much.
you guys next week. Keep it locked.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.